You're standing at the edge of a crowded bar, the kind where the music is too loud and the air is thick with cologne and ambition. She's across the room, laughing with her friends, her presence pulling every guy's eyes like a magnet. Your chest tightens, that old urge to walk over and say something clever clawing at you. But all this time, you've been playing it wrong, chasing her approval, tweaking your words, your smile, your vibe, just to get her to notice you. You've been pouring your energy into winning her over, and it's been a one-way ticket to nowhere. The truth is, the way to her heart isn't through chasing, it's through walking away first. It's a psychological gut punch most guys never learn. Reject her before she rejects you. Not out of spite, but out of strength. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to flip that switch in her mind and make her chase you. Not because you're running, but because you're the one she can't let go. Let's dive into the core of this, selective detachment. It's not about being cold or playing hard to get, it's about showing you, complete without her, that your world doesn't hinge on her smile or her number. You walk into that bar not scanning for her approval, but owning your space, your time, your worth. You're not ignoring her, you're just not worshipping her. This is the energy that shifts everything. Women are wired to notice the guy who doesn't need them, the one who is secure enough to walk away from the game most guys are desperate to play. It's counterintuitive, but when you reject the need to win her over, you create a void she can't help but want to fill. Picture a guy I know, Mark, who used to crash and burn every time he approached a woman. He'd spot someone he liked at a party and turn into a human billboard, jokes, compliments, stories. Anything to keep her engaged. One night, he's at a rooftop lounge, trying to charm a woman who's giving him polite smiles but zero spark. He's mid-story, sweating through his shirt, when he notices her eyes wandering to the crowd. Something snaps. Instead of doubling down, he stops, leans back and says, "You know what? I'm gonna grab a drink. Enjoy your night." He walks off, not angrily, but with calm, like he's got better things to do. 10 minutes later, she's at the bar, asking him, "Why'd you just leave like that?" Her tone's different now, curious, almost annoyed. By the end of the night, she's the one leaning in, laughing at his jokes, chasing his attention. Mark didn't he win her over by trying harder, he did it by showing he didn't need to. Here's where most guys screw it up. They think rejection means being a jerk, ghosting her, acting aloof, or throwing out some cheesy line to seem untouchable. That's not it. The mistake is in the mindset. If you're rejecting her to manipulate her, you're still chasing her approval, just in a sneakier way. Real detachment comes from a place of strength. You're not pretending you don't want her, you're showing you don't need her to feel whole. Women feel that difference like a sixth sense. If you're faking it, trying to game her with tricks, she'll smell the desperation a mile away. But if you're genuinely okay walking away because your life, your purpose, your self-respect don't depend on her reaction, she'll sense that too, and it'll pull her in like gravity. Try this exercise. Think about the last time you talked to a woman you were into. Replay the moment in your head. Were you hanging on her every word, adjusting your vibe to keep her interested? Chances are you were performing, even if you didn't realize it. Now imagine this instead. You're talking to her, but you're not invested in the outcome. You say what you want, not what you think she wants to hear. If she's not vibing, you're ready to walk away, not out of anger, but because you've got better things to do than chase a dead end. That mental shift is the foundation of selective detachment. It's not about shutting her out, it's about letting her in on your terms. When you carry that energy, she doesn't just notice you, she starts wondering why you're not chasing her like everyone else. The challenge is to start small. Next time you're out, talk to a woman, but set a mental timer, 5 minutes max. Say something real, maybe a comment about the vibe, or a playful jab if she says something silly. But when that 5 minutes is up, if she's not engaging, excuse yourself. Don't make a scene, don't act hurt, just say, "Good meeting you," and move on. Do it because you value your time, not because you're trying to win her. That act of walking away, of rejecting the need to keep her hooked, plants a seed in her mind. She'll wonder who you are, why you didn't stick around, and that wonder is the first step to her chasing you. It's not about being unavailable, it's about being unapologetically yourself, and that's the guy she'll want to figure out. You're in a dimly lit coffee shop, the kind where the barista knows everyone else's order and the air smells like roasted beans. And ambition. She's at the counter ordering something complicated. Her voice sharp and confident. You feel that familiar pull, the instinct to catch her eye, to say something that'll make her smile. But you don't rush over. You're practicing the second piece of this psychology, controlled engagement. It's about choosing when and how you connect, not out of fear, but from a place of power. You're not rejecting her outright, you're rejecting the urge to chase, to be the guy who's always on to impress her. This is what sets you apart. What makes her start to wonder why you're not like the others begging for her attention. Imagine you're at a friend's party, the room buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses. She's there, holding court with a group, her energy pulling everyone in. You catch her eye for a moment, and your brain screams, "Go talk to her." Old you would have jumped in, armed with a clever line, ready to keep her entertained. But now, you hold back. You're deep in conversation with someone else, actually enjoying it, not using it as a prop to look busy. She notices. Her glances linger. Her laugh gets a little louder, like she's trying to pull you over. Why isn't he coming to me? She's thinking. Her confidence rattled just enough to spark curiosity. Later, when you do approach because you feel like it, not because you have to, you keep it simple. You're trouble, aren't you? You say, a half smile on your face. Her eyes light up, not just with amusement, but with a challenge. That's controlled engagement. You're in, but you're not all in. And that balance is what makes her lean closer. Here's the psychology. Women are drawn to men who set boundaries, not just with them, but with themselves. When you engage on your terms, when you show you can connect without clinging, you're signaling strength. It's not about being distant, it's about being deliberate. Her brain picks up on the fact that you're not desperate for her approval, and that creates a tension she can't ignore. She starts to wonder, why isn't he trying harder? Or what's he got going on? That uncertainty is what fuels her interest, not because you're playing games, but because you're a man who values himself enough to choose his moments. It's the opposite of the guy who's always texting, always available, always ready to jump through hoops. That guy is predictable, and predictable is forgettable. But here's where it goes wrong. Some guys think controlled engagement means acting like an ice-cold statue, barely acknowledging her, thinking it'll make them seem mysterious. That's not it. I knew a guy, Dan, who tried this and tanked hard. He'd walk into a bar, spot a woman he liked, and deliberately ignore her, thinking it'd make her chase him. Instead, she just thought he wasn't interested, or worse, rude. By the end of the night, she was laughing with some other guy who actually talked to her. Dan's mistake was confusing detachment with disconnection. Controlled engagement isn't about shutting her out, it's about showing up fully, but not giving away all your energy up front. You're a fire she can feel the heat from, but you don't let her touch the flames, not yet. You give her just enough to want more, and that's what keeps her circling back. Let's make it practical. You're texting a woman you met last week. She's sharp, beautiful, and you're tempted to fire off a reply every time your phone pings. Don't. Let her message sit for a bit, not forever, but long enough to show you've got a life. When you do respond, keep it real, maybe a little bold. That's a dangerous opinion. Defend it. You write, teasing her about something she said. No long paragraphs, no emojis. If she replies, great. If she doesn't, you're not sweating it. You're not glued to your phone, waiting for her to validate you. That's controlled engagement in action. You're present, but you're not at her mercy. She'll notice the difference, and it'll make her check her phone twice, wondering why you're not blowing up her notifications like every other guy. The challenge is to catch yourself when you're about to overcome it. Next time you're talking to a woman, pay attention to that urge to keep the conversation going, to fill every silence, to make sure she's into you. Stop. Ask yourself, am I engaging because I want to, or because I'm scared she'll lose interest? If it's the second, pull back, and the conversation early, not abruptly, but with confidence. Say, gotta run, but this was fun, and mean it. Do it because your time matters, not because you're trying to trick her. That act of setting a boundary, of rejecting the need to keep her hooked, is what makes her start to see you differently. She'll wonder why you're not chasing, and that wonder is what pulls her in, not as a fling, but as someone she's starting to need. You're on a city rooftop, the skyline jagged against the dusk, the hum of conversation mixing with clinking glasses. She's beside you, her perfume cutting through the cool air, her eyes catching the light as she talks about her day. You're listening, nodding, but there's a moment where the vibe shifts. She's testing you, maybe teasing you about your shirt or asking why you're so quiet. Most guys would jump to defend themselves, laugh it off, or try to win her approval. You don't. This is where the third piece of the psychology kicks in, unapologetic ownership. It's about standing firm in who you are, rejecting the pressure to mold yourself to her expectations. You're not here to audition for her affection, you're here to be you. And that's what makes her heart tilt in your direction. Picture a scene at a crowded bar. She's leaning against the counter, her friends nearby, and you're chatting, the energy light but charged. She throws out a playful jab. You're kinda serious, huh? Don't you ever loosen up? The old you might have scrambled, tossing out a joke or forcing a grin to prove you're fun. Instead, you look her in the eye, a slow smirk spreading. I'm as loose as I need to be. Serious is just how you're reading me. Your tone's calm, not defensive, but there's steel behind it. She pauses, her smile flickering, not because you shut her down, but because you didn't bend. Fair enough, she says, her voice softer now, her eyes lingering. Later, as you're leaving, she's the one who says, text me. That's unapologetic ownership. You don't apologize for your edges. And that confidence is what makes her want to know more. The psychology here is raw. Women are surrounded by men who shift like chameleons, tweaking their personalities to fit what they think she wants: funny, charming, agreeable. It's exhausting. And deep down, it signals weakness. When you own who you are, your quirks, your flaws, your vibe, you're rejecting the game most guys play. That rejection is magnetic. It's not about being perfect, it's about being solid. Her brain registers you as a man who doesn't need her validation to feel complete, and that's rare. It's why she'll replay that moment when you didn't flinch, why she'll wonder what makes you tick. You're not just another guy, she's starting to see you as the guy, the one who stands out because he doesn't need to. But here's the mistake guys make. They confuse ownership with arrogance, thinking it means puffing out their chest or shutting her down to seem alpha. That's not it. I knew a guy, Chris, who tried this and crashed hard. He'd go on dates and act like every comment she made was a challenge to his ego. She'd say something like, I love traveling, and he'd counter with, yeah, well, I don't need to leave the country to live a good life. He thought he was being strong, but he just came off as insecure, picking fights to prove he didn't care. She didn't chase him, she ghosted him. Ownership isn't about dismissing her or acting untouchable. It's about embracing yourself so fully that her tests bounce off you. Chris's error was thinking he had to push her away to seem strong. Real ownership pulls her in, because it's not about her, it's about you. Let's ground this. You're on a date, sitting across from her at a low-lit restaurant. She's probing, maybe asking why you're not like her ex, who was super outgoing. The old you might have tried to match that energy, throwing out stories to prove you're just as fun. Now, you lean back, sip your drink and say, I'm not him. I bring what I bring: depth, not noise. You're not bragging or arguing, you're just stating truth. Her eyes narrow, not with judgment, but with intrigue. Depth, huh? What's that mean? She asks, leaning in. You don't over-explain. You shrug, say, stick around, you'll see, and change the subject. That's ownership. You don't justify who you are, but you invite her to discover it. She's hooked, not because you tried to impress her, but because you didn't need to. The challenge is to spot the moments where you're tempted to conform. Next time you're with a woman, notice when you feel that urge to soften your EDGES, to laugh at a joke. You don't find funny to agree with her just to keep the vibe smooth, to downplay what makes you different. Don't. Lean into who you are. If she teases you about your quiet side, don't rush to prove you're loud, say. Quiet's where the good stuff happens. If she questions your career or your passions, don't sell yourself, say, it's what I'm about. Not for everyone, but it's mine. The point isn't to challenge her, it's to show you're not here to be reshaped. That's what plants you in her mind, not as a guy she's dating, but as the man she can't shake. You're walking through a park at dusk, the city some fading behind you, her footsteps matching yours on the gravel path. She's talking about her life, her job, her friends, the dreams she's chasing. There's a warmth in her voice, but you feel that subtle test again, maybe in the way she glances at you, waiting for you to impress her or fill the silence. You don't. You're practicing the final piece of this psychology, fearless authenticity. It's not about bearing your soul or trying to seem deep. It's about being so real, so unfiltered, that you reject the need to be anything but yourself. This is what seals her heart. What makes her see you as the man she can't let slip away, not because you chased her, but because you gave her something no one else does, truth. Imagine you're at a small concert, the crowd swaying to a gritty indie band, her shoulder brushing yours. As the music pulses, she's vibing, but then she turns to you, half teasing. You don't seem like the concert type. What's your deal? Most guys would dodge, maybe play up their cool side to match the scene. You don't. You look at her, eyes steady, and say, I'm here for the energy, not the image. I like what moves me, not what's trending. It's simple, but it lands. Her smile shifts, not just amused, but curious, like she's seeing you for the first time. That's different, she says, her voice softer. Later, when the crowd thins out, she's the one sticking close, asking you about your life, your passions. That's fearless authenticity. You don't polish your truth to fit her expectations. And that rawness is what makes her crave more of you. The psychology is brutal and clear. Women are drowning in pretense guys who craft their words, their stories, their entire vibe to be what they think she wants. It's a performance, and it's forgettable. When you show up authentic, you're a rare signal in the noise. You're not hiding your flaws or exaggerating your wins. You're just you. And that vulnerability, backed by the strength of not needing her approval, is what hooks her. Her brain lights up because you ray not a puzzle to solve, you ray a man who is real. And that's what makes her trust you, want you, need you. She is not obsessing over your charm or your status. She is obsessing over the feeling of being near someone who doesn't play games with who he is. But here's where guys mess it up. They think authenticity means unloading everything, every fear, every failure, every dark thought to seem real. That's not it. I knew a guy, Ryan, who went overboard on a date, spilling his entire life story, from his parents' divorce to his fear of being alone. He thought it'd make him relatable, vulnerable. Instead, she felt trapped, like she was on a therapy session, not a date. Authenticity isn't a data dump. It's about sharing what matters, in the moment with purpose. It's saying, this is me, take it or leave it, without turning it into a melodrama. Ryan's mistake was thinking authenticity equals oversharing. Real authenticity is power. It's owning your truth without apology, but with precision. Let's make it real. You're grabbing drinks with her, the bar's low hum wrapping around you. She's telling you about her love for adventure, how she wants a guy who's spontaneous. The old you might have jumped in, spinning a tale about some wild trip to seem exciting. Now, you lean back, sip your whiskey and say, spontaneity's cool, but I'm more about purpose. I move when it feels right, not just to chase a rush. You're not knocking her vibe, you're just real about yours. Her eyes flicker, not with judgment, but with respect. Purpose, huh? Like what? She asks, her body turning toward you. You don't oversell. You share a piece of yourself, maybe a moment when you chose your path over the easy route and keep it short. That's what drives me. You either get it or you don't. She's hooked, not because you matched her energy, but because you showed her yours unfiltered. The challenge is to practice this in the small moments. Next time you're with a woman, resist the urge to tweak your vibe to impress her. If she talks about something you don't care for, don't nod along, say, not my thing, but I respect the passion. If she asks about your life, don't puff up your chest, share something true, like a goal you're chasing or a lesson you learned the hard way, but keep it tight. The goal isn't to shock her, it's to show you're not afraid to be seen. That's what plants you in her heart, not as a fling, but as the man she can't stop thinking about, the one she texts late at night because she needs to know more. You don't win her heart by chasing it. You win it by rejecting the need to by being detached, deliberate, unapologetic, and real. That's the psychology that makes her yours, not because you played her, but because you showed her a man who's whole without her, yet chooses her anyway.